Good day, everyone, and welcome to Learn English with Blaine. And in this video, we are going to review adjective clauses. And this video is part 2. And we are going to review non-defining adjective clauses. So again, we are going to review non-defining adjective clauses. Adjective clauses may also be called relative clauses because they begin with one of these three relative pronouns. So these clauses can begin with one of these three relative pronouns. We use who for people, which for animals and things, and whose for people, things, and animals to show possession. So again, we use who for people, which for animals and things, and whose for people, things, and animals to show possession. Here are some examples. Number 1. My best friend, who lives in Calgary, is an engineer. My best friend, who lives in Calgary, is an engineer. The adjective clause in this sentence is right here. Who lives in Calgary? This clause is giving us information about the noun my best friend. My best friend, this is a person, so the clause will begin with who. My best friend is a person, so the clause will begin with who. Notice that we have a comma at the end of the noun and at the end of the adjective clause. So this information is surrounded by commas, as a comma here and a comma there as well. Now, we are talking about non-defining adjective clauses. This information is not essential. So we can say, my best friend who lives in Calgary is an engineer. My best friend who lives in Calgary is an engineer, or we can remove this information and we can just say my best friend is an engineer, and the sentence will still be good. So let's go to example number 2. Your dog, which you bought last week, was seen running alone downtown. Your dog, which you bought last week, was seen running alone downtown. Now, in this sentence, the clause is which you bought last week, which you bought last week, and the noun that it modifies is your dog. Your dog is an animal, so the clause will begin with which. Now, we can say your dog, which you bought last week, was seen running alone downtown, or we can just say your dog was seen running alone downtown. We do not need this information to know who the dog is. Example number 3. My last big exam, which took me 2 hours to complete, was actually very easy. My last big exam, which took me 2 hours to complete, was actually very easy. The clause is here, which took me 2 hours to complete. The noun that it modifies is right here, my last big exam. So again, an exam is a thing, so we are going to use the pronoun which. And once again, we could say my last big exam, which took me 2 hours to complete, was actually very easy. Or we can just say, my last big exam was actually very easy. And it's a good sentence as well. Let's go to number 4. The city of Winnipeg, which is in Manitoba, has a growing population. The city of Winnipeg, which is in Manitoba, has a growing population. The clause is right here, which is in Manitoba, and the noun that it modifies is right here. The city of Winnipeg is a place, so it's a thing, and so we can use the pronoun which. Now again, we can say the city of Winnipeg, which is in Manitoba, has a growing population, or we can say the city of Winnipeg has a growing population. Number 5. This library book, which I took out last week, is very interesting. This library book, which I took out last week, is very interesting. Okay, now the clause is here, which I took out last week. The noun that it modifies is this library book. And again, because a book is just a thing, we can use the pronoun which. And again, non-essential information, so we can say this library book, which I took out last week, is very interesting. Or we can say this library book is very interesting. Again, we do not need this information, right? We can remove it and the sentence still makes sense. Now let's move on here. Now we're going to take a few minutes to look at another type. In the previous examples, the adjective clauses were in the middle of the sentence. However, the clause may also be at the end of the sentence. So let's take a look. I really enjoyed the movie, which we saw last week. I really enjoyed the movie, which we saw last week. Your clause, which we saw last week. And the noun that it modifies is the movie. The movie, which we saw last week. Now again, we can say, I really enjoyed the movie, which we saw last week. Or you can say, I really enjoyed the movie. And that's a good sentence as well. Number 7. The children enjoyed playing with the baby, who is always smiling. The children enjoyed playing with the baby, who is always smiling. Your clause is who is always smiling, and the noun that it modifies is the baby, right? Now again, we can say the children enjoyed playing with the baby, who is always smiling, or we can just say the children enjoyed playing with the baby. Number 8. I love that new store down the street which sells pet supplies. I love that new store down the street which sells pet supplies. Now for this one, your clause is which sells pet supplies. And the noun that it modifies is that new store down the street. That new store down the street. So we can say, I love that new store down the street, which sells pet supplies. Or we could say, I love that new store down the street. And it could be non-essential information. Let's go to our next example, number 9. I put your keys on the table whose top is very delicate. I put your keys on the table whose top is very delicate. Well, the clause is whose top is very delicate. We're using this to show possession, and the noun that it modifies is the table. So again, we can say, I put your keys on the table, whose top is very delicate, or we can say, I put your keys on the table. And that would be a good sentence. Let's take a look at one more example, everyone. Number 10. John met our new neighbors who are always very friendly. John met our new neighbors who are always very friendly. Your clause is who are always very friendly, who are always very friendly, and the noun is our new neighbors, our new neighbors. And again, we're using who because the neighbors, of course, are people. And again, we can say, John met our new neighbors who are always very friendly, or we can simply say, John met our new neighbors. Now, just as a side point, non-defining adjective clauses may also be called non-restricting adjective clauses or modifying adjective clauses. It's a little bit confusing. There's many names, but as we go through these videos, I think they will become more familiar to you. Now, adjective clauses may also be called relative clauses instead of adjective clauses. So we have many different names. We've got non-defining adjective clauses, we've got non-restricting adjective clauses, modifying adjective clauses, and then even the word adjective clause, we could use relative clause instead. So these are just some of the different names that we use, but they are all the same grammar point. Remember to check out the links below this video. There will be more links now, like when you check now, and in the future I will be adding more links to help you with this grammar point. So again, everyone, I want to thank all of you so much for watching this video. As usual, I really do appreciate you. Leave your comments or questions in the comment section below the video, and I will be glad to respond. And if you like this video, please remember to share, like, and subscribe. Thank you so much, everyone, and have yourself a wonderful day. Have a great day. See you soon.